What's going on, guys? Welcome to Beyond Politics. This is an in-depth conversation about relevant political topics of the day. I'm your host, Jared, and as always, I'm joined with Seth. And then also we have our token woman here, Emily. She's gonna help us. She's gonna help us enlighten us on issues that Seth and I, as men, are not qualified to speak on.
Just can't understand.
We can't understand.
And we don't want to just constantly be mansplaining this whole episode. So we thought to bring in, the off balance.
We're gonna throw her in there too, so that she can give her opinion.
And she's kind of a minority because she's from Canada, so she's got that working against
the right
her.
boxes
checking all
checked.
The boxes.
Yeah. You could
She's
have been
white
in this
though.
march.
She's white though, so if you
Oh crap!
we could have
At least she's not a white male.
Put that on the list.
2 out
Find
of 3.
someone darker for next one.
Yeah, I'll have to.
But yeah, so
Work on
this week we're going to be talking about the March on Washington. So obviously this was a huge deal. This was a huge event because marches like this don't happen every year.
Mm-hmm.
Except they do if it's the pro-life march, which does happen every year.
No, Jared,
and
that's
it's
not
even
covered on the news outlet, so it might as well
Oh, it
just not
doesn't
happen.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Right.
it's an alternative fact that it actually
Oh.
happens.
That under.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna run through some of the speakers. We're gonna talk about what the event was trying to accomplish because I don't understand it.
Wait,
you guys
was it trying to
understand? Emily, do you understand what they were? Do you?
Not one bit.
No,
And I don't
okay.
think they did either.
Yeah.
I
Because
agree.
there
I
were
agree.
signs from all kinds. I had no idea what the point of it was.
Yeah.
No idea.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna try and make some kind of sense of it. So it's kind of an impossible
Yes.
endeavor that we're going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seth, why don't you kind of run through what we're gonna be doing?
Yeah, so we wanted to first start off in saying that the march itself, the fact that they got this many people together to peacefully protest something that they thought was wrong is awesome. It's cool. It's something that is great to have in America, that we have the right to do this. And we would never say that they shouldn't be allowed to do this. And the fact that they had 0 arrests compared to the freaking day before where there was 230 that were protesting Trump's inauguration.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's also, I think, important to just retain perspective that this was a huge march, but I mean, as you've talked about, the pro-life march happens every year, and it has been known to draw more people than were at this march. I've heard different reports on the amount of people at this march on Washington. I've heard 500,000.
From a couple.
But then
different
on their
sources.
site, they say 1 million. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't-
mean, on
I
their
don't
site
know.
they'll say 1 million. On a really conservative site, they'll say like 100,000,
No,
and
but
then
I
probably
think-
somewhere in the middle is what it actually was.
yeah,
I think they were saying 1 million worldwide.
I thought it was
think
more than. I
that
mean,
was-
they had protests like in Austria, Australia, Germany,
Yeah, but
Antarctica,
they didn't
and
have-
Antarctica.
Now, were they
Didn't have
protesting Donald Trump there?
Well, I mean, they can accurately say "not my president," you know.
There you go. Yeah, that could be right for them.
The only accurate statement.
Yeah, the only accurate
accurate
time
thing
to say
said
that.
in the
Yeah.
march. Yeah, there you go. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, definitely, it's obviously within their right to do it. However, it's kind of within our right to understand what they're trying to say and throw some facts
Critique.
and logic and common sense into.
Well,
the
I know
mix,
it's
because there
dangerous to
wasn't. It was
bring-
kind of absent there, but we're gonna. Kind
Well,
of
we felt that I was absent. We're gonna link below their complete mission statement and unity principles that they have on their website. But quickly skimming through, a lot of it is just kind of basic stuff. I mean, they talk about how they want equality for women and minorities, and that they will not rest until women have parity and equality in all levels of leadership in society. So that means they could rest, right?
and also, like, have you read the Constitution before? All of that's the
Already there.
Exactly, it's already already there. But it's
Yeah.
systemic. It's not. You can't fix.
We
it
can't
with
see it,
laws.
and there's-
You
it's not
can't see
actually
it,
there,
and
but
you
it's
can't
there.
prove it,
Yeah.
but it's
Well,
there.
you as males wouldn't know.
Yeah,
so I
we
don't-
really don't
I
understand.
don't know.
You're
So
right.
M, is there this
Do you feel?
unequal?
Do you feel unequal? Do you feel like that you're at a disadvantage in any way?
No. And this is the part. This is.
You're not allowed at the march. You're not allowed. This
not
is
a
for
real
women,
woman.
but not women that
Yeah.
don't
Not a
agree
real
with them.
No, this is why I said to Seth that I wanted to come on and talk about it, because I have never felt that way in my life. And the women around me feel the same. So it boggles my mind that these people, like, go out there and try to convince other people that we're not being treated equal. And especially, like, I'm in architecture in school, in, like, male-dominated field, whatever. I still
That's
never
sexist.
feel like that. I don't care. I still have never, like, felt that way. And I don't want to be treated differently. The whole crux of their argument is that, oh, well, we don't want to be treated differently. But at the same time, you want
But
to be
we're a
treated
victim.
differently. And given all these
As a
privileges that
woman.
you don't have as a woman. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes. I mean,
So you
I would
wouldn't
agree
want me to
if I'm
introduce
allowed
you as
to.
as a woman in the field of architecture?
You're a woman architect or you're an architect?
How do you
Yeah,
feel?
I'm a female architect. Okay,
There you go.
congratulations.
That's one of the things like I don't understand why you can't just let your work speak for itself.
No
Yeah.
one looks at a building and says, "Oh wow, that must have been designed by a female architect."
Well, they say it must have been a male because it's a male-dominated field because the architects
Right.
hate females,
Right? How could I
as we
forget?
know.
Yeah. No,
Um,
so I mean, that was an interesting thing. Then they also in their mission or their unity principles. Sorry. They talked about not criticizing people doing evil, but just criticizing the evil itself.
Yeah, which is, I mean, obviously that's what they did when they were condemning Trump the whole time.
Yeah.
Like,
Right? I mean, like, if they actually stuck to the words that they said, then yeah, totally, I'm on board
On
with that.
board,
Condemn
right? That's-
evil acts and kind of try and separate that from the person who's
person.
actually committing these acts. Because everyone messes up, and they all mess up. So if you can kind of separate that from the person, that's great. However, that is not at all what was happening.
yeah, that's the problem with this is because when I read through their mission statement and unity principles, I was like, I am on board. All of this stuff sounds great. I'm on board. But then when you see what actually happened, there's just so
maybe
many
not all of it, but
inconsistencies. Not all
Yeah,
of it.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
very true. I'm not going to say all of it, but a lot of it. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, no, what they
But
were
at the
talking
same
about
time-
with the equality and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it's like, I feel like we already have that. Like, I want someone to name one right that men have that women don't have and minorities don't have. You know?
Men sign up for the draft.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
That's a right.
-1.
Minus one. I don't know. That's a lot of math. But that's the problem. And like,
Yeah, it's
what they're
just-
looking for doesn't exist.
Mhm.
Like they say, there's no law. I mean,
And it's
they've had
unprovable.
It's unprovable. I mean, there's a pay equality gap that was passed back in the 60s that guarantees equal pay. This whole wage gap garbage doesn't exist. The wage gap myth started with this study of annual earnings that showed that women that work full time make 79.6% of what men make full time. That does not take into account at all job per job, hours worked.
Yeah.
All it says, if you take all the
Or
women
the
that work full
fields that they
time,
go in the degrees that women get. Like a lot of women in America tend to get like, you know, sociology degrees, or they become nurses and stuff like that, which is great. And even the ones that, you know, go in and get their PhD and doctors and stuff like that, they'll kind of do more pediatrics as opposed to maybe brain surgeons or heart surgeons, which are just higher paid jobs.
yes, and then men are also more risk averse. They're more willing to take risks. Women prefer comfort and security. Where men are willing to go for the chances.
And
you know?
obviously there's exceptions to the rules. However, this is on an average field, and that's how this statistic is kind of that's how they come up with it, is they're averaging out the pay between men and women who work full-time hours, and it doesn't account for all of those things.
Yeah, and so it's just it's like you have all of these things that you're protesting for. I mean, a civil rights protest is to protest for rights that you think you're not getting. There isn't any, you know? So
It
I'm
makes
just
no sense.
I'm still lost.
Yeah.
And then they talk about how they're women and they're speaking for women, yet there is multiple instances which they were partnered with pro-life groups that think that abortions are wrong. They were partnered with them for this march, and then they revoked the partnership, moving closer and closer to the launch. And yet in their promo video, they have a woman that's pregnant, and she says, "My baby's life
My
matters."
life matters. And so does hers.
So it's like another inconsistency. Like you won't let these pro-life people in the march. Like they literally were not letting people with pro-life signs because they have a right to protest, and they just said we'll make our own protest, and they had their own that was bigger. But
There you go.
it's like you're not speaking for women. You're speaking for people that agree with you. You don't want to hear anything different, and you're not going to look at the information.
And that's where they contradict themselves again, because they say we speak for all women. No, you don't.
Yeah.
And they want to get out of the fact that, oh well, like men don't speak for us. They can't be putting through all these laws and all these amendments when they're not a woman. But you have the right to go up and say we speak for all women. Like you don't.
And then,
how do you
and then
like
if you
it? Like,
disagree
not-
with them as a woman,
You're
they
not a
would
woman.
call you not a real feminist, or you know, you don't really care. You should be appreciative of them for fighting for your rights and
For
for
my
your
rights.
equality. That because you're
Yeah.
not equal somehow, we can't really prove it, but you're
Yeah.
not. So
Yeah.
Like-
well, and like, I have nothing against, because obviously women had to fight to get equal rights because at one point there weren't.
Yeah.
So those women that fought to get equal rights, yeah, okay, obviously we as women owe them so much, but feminists now are not what feminists used to be.
Mm-mm.
Like,
Not at all.
It's not even in the same ballpark. It's not even close.
It almost makes them look bad because the
They
people
don't
that
understand.
actually fought for this and got
For
it,
a
now they're
legitimate
saying
cause.
that wasn't worth it. Like that, we didn't
Yeah.
really get anything.
Yeah.
Look what we've started.
Yeah.
And also they're comparing what they're doing and themselves to what they were doing, which was actually justified and
Yeah.
fighting for a cause that actually mattered and was substantial, and
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing is not at all.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
it just it discredits it even more, and like you said, like we've already pointed out, it contradicts itself in multiple different
Over and over again.
scenarios. But that
Yeah.
doesn't matter because vagina.
Yep.
So
Gets
Well,
me so fired up.
And I think this is also, yeah, I know, right? I also think it speaks to this generation, and I feel like America is really becoming. Well, I don't know. I won't say speak for all America, but a lot of people are developing this mob mentality, and that if they get enough people going for this something, then it makes it valid.
yeah.
And there are psychological things that need to be taken effect. I mean, like stuff like the false consensus effect is real. That's where you have a bias where people tend to overestimate the extent to which their beliefs are normal and typical, where they get so consumed by this relatively small group, and
Yeah.
just think, well, every woman must think this, so I'm gonna speak for them. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
That's not letting women speak for themselves. You're actually silencing people, you know?
No, exactly. I mean, this march, 500,000 people say of women are there. There's 300 million people in America, 150 million women in America, at least. And this is 500,000 who are saying they speak for all of them?
Yeah.
Like, no.
No. That'd be a
So-
pretty good percentage, you know? If you could get just that small of a subset to speak for everybody and get everything, that'd be pretty good.
Wow.
Be great.
Impressive.
Yeah, totally.
Very impressive. So yeah, I mean, I really look at this and where they're speaking for equality, and I really don't think they understand what that means. And we're gonna talk through a couple of the speakers, and I really just don't think they understand what they're fighting for. I think they just like being loud and like having attention and feel like they need to protest something.
And they like to say those key words that the audience just like erupts, and then that's
Yeah.
it. And they say a bunch of
Like
other
they're
stuff,
doing it for the applause.
and then it's just like, we hate Trump. Yeah, Planned Parenthood. Yeah.
Blow up the White House. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
9/11.
No, just throw that in there. No, I think Madonna was definitely a great highlight for this.
Oh,
this
yeah.
march, man. I mean, she was a voice of reason here.
Yeah, I mean, we should say, all the people that talked, they were well-informed, productive, they really talked about the issues and didn't break down into insults and personal attacks.
At all.
Welcome to the revolution of love. Not as nasty as a man who looks like he bathes in Cheeto dust. And I didn't know devils could be resurrected.
All right, so let's talk about Madonna. Is a great role model for women growing up all over America, I think I would say.
Absolutely.
Let's not forget this.
I am outraged. Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
I think that's called terrorism. And then let's not forget, this is the same woman that sexually assaulted Drake on stage. People might say that that's not really what happened, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't ready for the kiss, didn't know about it, and kissing someone
he
without
wasn't
consent.
ready, man. That's
That's
pretty
sexual
aggressive.
assault.
Because if you
that
were to do
is.
that to me, you would. be
Yeah,
done.
or if a guy did that
Be
to
a
a girl on
rapist is
stage,
what you'd
he'd
be.
be a
Yeah,
rapist.
exactly.
yeah.
You can just talk about doing that to a woman and you're a rapist. So imagine if you actually did it.
That's true.
And
That's true.
Let's also not forget her wonderful plea to vote for Hillary Clinton.
Genius of comedy. If you vote for Hillary Clinton, I will give you a blowjob.
So yeah, it's odd to me that anyone who says anything extreme against them is racist, bigoted, and misogynist, yet like they can say all of the same things. And they can that's not
Well,
equality.
they can because they're true feminists.
Like that's where this inconsistency comes in, because what they are, like, that's not equality. That is privilege. That's the definition of privilege.
Yeah.
They're getting away with doing things that we wouldn't be able to do because of them, because they're women. That's something they can't. Well, like, I guess you can change that nowadays, but you know, like
Yeah.
it's just
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it doesn't bode well for them, honestly, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how they think that they can get away
who's
with it.
inviting Madonna to these things? Like,
I think
You
she
know what,
just
guys? You know
shows
what would
up.
be a great idea? Let's bring Madonna here. You remember the person who told people that she would give them blowjobs for voting for Hillary
Yeah.
Oh my
Clinton?
gosh.
Let's bring
that's
her.
a feminist.
Let's
Yeah.
bring her.
She speaks for all women.
Yeah, she
even
does.
though Hillary didn't get a bunch of women. So.
She's only got 4 minutes to save the world.
Is that a song by her?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was hoping one of you would get it, but I guess you're not. one.
Because we look like the type of people that listen
Yeah,
to
I
Madonna.
mean, I personally am a huge Madonna fan. I probably just
She's a
missed that song
huge
somewhere.
hero of mine.
Well,
growing
some
up.
of your song choices, I mean.
Well, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, another huge hero of mine would have to be Ashley Judd.
I'm not as nasty as a man who looks like he bathes in Cheeto dust. And I didn't know devils could be resurrected, but I feel Hitler in these streets. A mustache traded for a toupee. Nazis renamed the cabinet. Electroconversion therapy, the new gas chambers, shaming the gay out of America, turning rainbows into suicide notes. I am not as nasty as racism, fraud, conflict of interest, homophobia, sexual assault, transphobia, white supremacy, misogyny, ignorance, white privilege.
Oh, yeah. And again, very precise. I mean, she really took Trump on the issues.
Really,
Totally
she didn't
attack
judge him. She didn't judge him. You know, the evils that he committed. She was able to separate that from him
Yeah,
as a
and
person.
didn't judge him on his looks
Yeah.
by
No.
saying he bathes in Cheeto dust. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, you really
I mean,
cut him
this-
down.
This may be true, but still, what you criticize his policies, all right? You can't
Yeah.
help that he's orange.
Like, this was the part that, like, just frustrated me the most, because you're on Washington. If you want to be taken seriously, act like a professional. Like, these are professional people coming up and supposed to be giving these speeches that are, like, professional, or show your voice, show your, like, position. And then she says, oh, he bathes in Cheeto dust.
Yeah.
It's
It
like, really?
undermines
And-
kind of the whole message of what they're trying to
Yeah,
send.
and then she gives
when
the
you
whole
put in these ridiculous, condescending comments that aren't
Yeah.
even relevant to what you're trying, the point that you're trying to get across.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think the
exactly.
point was, right, that she can feel Hitler in the streets of Washington. That a mustache has been traded for a toupee.
Which is interesting because the people who were in the streets of Washington were the feminists for the march, right? So I guess she was feeling
That is.
Hitler through
What
them.
does that mean?
What?
Yeah, and that's totally not fear mongering or anything. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure that Trump, who's spoken for Second Amendment rights, I mean, that's very similar to Hitler, because Hitler made sure to arm all of the countries he was going to take over, right?
Yeah, that's what. Well, yeah, before he went in and took them over, he gave all the citizens.
He was like,
arms.
"Hey guys, make sure you have
Because
your
that's what
guns."
fascist dictators do. They make sure to better arm the populace. Of the
Exactly.
nations they're taking over.
Yeah, for sure. So, gotta love it.
At least there was there was at least one voice of somewhat reason here. So,
Yes, Black Widow.
Yeah, there you go. Don't leave it to the superhero to come in and say something right.
Yeah, there you go.
President Trump, I did not vote for you. That said, I respect that you are our president-elect, and I want to be able to support you. But first, I ask that you support me.
She started off by, at one point in the speech, she said, President Trump, I didn't vote for you. However, and I want to be able to support you. However, I ask that you first support me. I think that's totally reasonable. Politicians have to earn the vote of every single individual. They
Very
don't
true.
just automatically get it. So I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to say. She obviously acknowledged President Trump that he is a legitimate president, which it's crazy now. But if someone says that, then we're like, oh, wow, good. Yeah,
Oh
that's-
wow, yes,
progress.
that's so sad.
That's progress, right?
Yeah.
Someone acknowledges reality and its progress. But yeah, so I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we could show the whole speech, but I mean, link below. I thought it was really good, and
check it out.
I think it was good too because I think I don't think she meant it this way, but it kind of perfectly described how the government and government assistance should work.
Yeah.
She talks that when she was growing up, she was on welfare, and that she needed the government to help her get by, and then that she had a job, and then now she's able to be an actress, makes a lot of money, and now she's trying to help. And like that's what welfare is for. It's for emergencies. It's for the people that need to help getting back on their feet. It's not meant to be a permanent living expense.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. I mean, welfare was never designed. It wasn't. It's not really. It was designed back during the Great Depression to kind of help people get out of that when the economy was terrible. So it really shouldn't be that much in play now. But it is. You can't just get rid of it. But an effective way to kind of fix it is to have people on it for a limited time to get them off of their feet and back out in the workforce.
Yeah,
to give people kind of a chance.
A jumping off point.
Exactly. And then she was talking about how she got health care through her job, right?
Yeah, because she couldn't afford it. Because she couldn't afford it. But guess what? She was working. She got healthcare through her job. That's how it should work. It shouldn't just be there for you to just have. You're working. You're being productive. You're doing the effort. And obviously now a lot of jobs aren't being able to cover healthcare because of the Affordable Care Act. It's gotten too expensive.
Exactly.
But before that, jobs were able to offer that for their employees, and it helped with job security. And actually, it also incentivized.
And it was better quality healthcare too.
It was also better. It incentivized them to get jobs so they could be covered.
Absolutely.
And it 100%. Was probably better healthcare. And so I really liked Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah. So whether or not she was trying to do that, I think that she did make that point.
Yeah.
So I think that was pretty.
And
good.
you made a good point about the applause during her speech. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because her speech, I think that a lot of the audience didn't understand what she was talking about, or because they didn't really know how to react.
They needed to hear the trigger words.
Logical reasoning happening.
Yeah. But like as soon as she would say like anything anti-Trump or anything Planned Parenthood, anything the applause would.
That was the buzzword.
And then it would die. And then when she said, "I didn't vote for Trump, but I support him," crickets, like nothing.
Yeah.
And there seriously could have been people there like holding up a sign, applause. Oh no, don't applaud.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, bring it down.
Maybe there's
like applause when you hear these buzzwords.
Yeah, exactly. If you hear this phrase, clap.
But it just goes back to they don't understand. Like the people there just didn't understand why they were there. Why there's like they didn't understand anything that was going on. If you're only applauding.
I think it's hard to understand because if you you were going with what they said they were talking about, and then you're listening to these speeches.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to understand?
I think you just wait for everyone else to clap, and then you're like,
am I supposed to clap? Everyone's clapping. Okay, yeah.
Is this something we applaud?
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah.
But it's okay. Leave it to Van Jones because he was terrific, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think I can speak for both of us, and we just love being told what to do and how to think.
Yes,
I mean,
I love
Van Jones came out and said this.
We love the conservatives enough to tell them that they have to be better conservatives than this. You have to be better conservatives than this. Real conservatives love the Constitution.
And so, I mean, where do liberals, where do they think that they can tell us that to judge us as being conservatives?
Right. We're the party that doesn't look at the Constitution.
Even
though they were saying that Donald Trump isn't a legitimate president because he won the popular vote, which doesn't matter at all.
According to the Constitution.
Even I know that.
Yeah, even you know that. You're not even from here. It's just it's so, to say that someone else, you need to be better.
Yeah.
You know?
Hypocritical.
Look hypocritical. Also, just prideful. Condescending.
Yeah.
You need to do better. Because what that's saying is not only that you need to do better, but that you're in a position above them to tell them that.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. And it's not like they're a great shining example of that. I mean, come on.
Oh, well, no. I mean, they are. They had a march.
Yeah.
They had signs.
No, it's ridiculous. And then it bothers me. It should bother really anybody. I mean, nobody should feel that they have the right to tell someone else what they should believe or how they should believe it. I mean, have conservatives messed up this go around? Has there been, people who let Donald Trump and that administration get away with too much? Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, that kind of stuff happens on both sides in rampant numbers.
No, it doesn't.
And
it's just Trump.
Got it.
Alternative fact. Just Trump.
Yeah, that's never going to go away.
It's not going to go away. It's good for about another month of jokes, and then there'll be something new.
Exactly. Then we'll have to come up with new material.
Yeah.
No, but
And-
so in their unity principles, they were talking about how all of these LGBTQIA, all that whole community is scared and frightened. I mean, let's not forget that Donald Trump, at the time of becoming the president, is the most pro LGBTQIA president ever.
Yep.
Right? He's
I
the
mean-
only president who has been elected who is pro gay marriage at the time that they were elected president.
Their first, yeah. It's like, so like, they all seem to forget Obama's stance on marriage in
Yeah.
2008.
Define marriage.
I believe that marriage is the union between a man and a woman. Now, for me as a Christian, for me as a Christian, it's also a sacred union.
And so it's like, it's just simple logic and understanding. Like, Trump talked about LGBTQIA, AI, what is it, AI? IA.
IA. You
Gosh,
jerk.
I'm just a racist. Like, he talked about their rights and wanting to make sure that they're treated equal at the Republican National Convention.
Yeah.
That's like the last place you'd expect.
As your president, I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of a hateful foreign ideology. Believe me.
He held up a rainbow flag. That seems a little pandering, but coming out and saying it, and
100%.
also coming out and saying about he really didn't care about gay marriage. Like, he's not a big issue for him.
Yeah.
Like, what else do you want? I mean, you have Obama saying that he's for traditional marriage and he thinks that God is a part of marriage as a Christian and it's really special. And then 4 years later, God's not in the equation and anyone, like,
and
men
anyone
can marry
get
men.
married, and that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
that's complete pandering too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you gotta. It's like you were talking about earlier. You have to either believe that people can change their minds or they can't.
Yeah.
Yep. And if they can, then that's fine. But then I don't think it's right then to judge Trump then on what he said 2005 about women. Like,
Yeah.
you've seen he has the first successful he's the president with the first successful female campaign manager.
Yeah, no, totally.
Kellyanne.
Kellyanne
And
Conway,
he
yeah.
has multiple
She's
women
a huge
in
part of the
his
administration.
Yeah,
He
and
lets his daughter
Secretary of
run the company,
Education
basically.
is
Like,
Ivanka Trump is very highly involved
Yeah.
with the administration.
And it's like it's one of those things where it's like surface level. You see Trump and you see Hillary, and they're like, well, she obviously is more pro women because she's a woman. But then if you actually do the research, like, I mean, Trump,
about it.
I think, has more in his portfolio.
Also, I don't think it's more pro woman to be constantly telling women that they're a victim of something.
Exactly.
But she's a woman, Jared.
So she has the right.
You're right.
Yeah,
I
you're
really
a
shouldn't
victim.
even be speaking about this.
Hey,
so I'm
maybe
sorry.
that's another right that we have that you don't.
That what?
That we can say whatever we want.
That is currently how it seems to be
I
working.
think that's
You
how
guys
it
are at
works.
-2.
I mean,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Minus 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the double standard is insane, and the
Yeah.
inconsistency, and it's difficult and it's near impossible to have a discussion with these things going on. Like, when you can't focus and have a foundation and just have certain things that we can come to an agreement on and certain things that are consistent, it's very
Facts.
difficult, facts, to start a conversation.
Yeah, well, you can't have a conversation in this arena with someone who opposes you because there's not facts that they
There's-
can bring
yeah.
to the table. It really is hard to find common ground. I would like to, like, if you can show me a law where there is blatant discrimination against women and inequality against a specific gender or race in any way, then show me and I will fight it with you. But if you can't,
Exactly.
then I'm sorry, I can't.
And we can show you laws against that
yeah,
that are on the books.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
and so, like, I just wanted to address the question to you, like, as like, what do you think you can do with this? You know, like, these women, they're basically just telling you what to do, and they silence you as soon as you start talking against them. And there's it seems to be such a momentum. I mean, it makes America look so bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we kind of talked about this earlier, but I think it's going to reach a point where everything's just going to flip because it's like the media and these women marching are telling all the women, like, you should feel oppressed. You should feel like you're a minority. You should feel like you don't have equal rights. And then, like, I include myself in this, and I know there's other women that feel like this that are saying, no, like, you're not going to tell me how I think, you're not going to tell me how to act or how I feel or that I'm oppressed. And I think there's just going to be a switch where it's going to be like, okay, no, we're going to stand up and say we're not being treated like
we're not being treated equal by you guys.
The pendulum will swing.
I agree.
It's almost like the election maybe with Trump. I mean, that we got
you
so
saw
sick
it with
in
Brexit. You saw it with the election here in the United States. I definitely think that the pendulum always swings. Just hopefully it won't swing too far in the other direction. You know what I mean? Typically, it's better when the pendulum is kind of in the middle as opposed to way over here or way over here. No, I think that's definitely insightful, and we'll see. Time will tell, because I mean, this is just kind of ridiculous, honestly.
And I hope it happens soon, because I'm reaching a breaking point every single day when I have to put up with this.
Yeah, and then you get to go home, and you have people at home protesting America,
like,
or helping. What were they doing?
They had protests in Ottawa, in Montreal, in Toronto, in Kingston, in London.
But for us, because we're oppressing women.
Women who need support because we're being oppressed.
Dude, let me just tell you something. America is probably like the greatest place for a female to be in the entire world, or like Western countries in general.
Or I would say
in
close
America
to, if not.
Like it's. I mean, there's no. I mean, America has the best economy in the world, and America has the most equal treatment of citizens in the entire world due to the Constitution. So if you're willing to put in the work and work hard, then America is the best place for you to be. Now, if you're not willing to put in the work and work hard, then
it's still the best, because we have so many government assistance.
Yeah. But the whole message is, it does. You're totally right. It makes America look bad. And especially to kind of the uneducated and the uninformed people who don't know the cornerstone and the foundation that America was built on, and the philosophy of working hard and achieving your dreams, and how that actually works. If you don't understand any of that, and all you see is these morons marching on Washington complaining about all these things that don't exist, then you're going to jump on that bandwagon.
But think about it, if you're someone from over there, you obviously don't know much about us, because honestly we don't affect you. Like, say you live in Australia. Who cares? But you see on all over the news, and it's very easy to be caught up in that because you see it everywhere. And then it's the whole, well, I see it everywhere, so it must be legit. And then you see them saying all of these things that
it just
aren't true.
Perpetuates that false narrative.
And then it creates the seed over there that women in America are being treated less. And it's like,
and then, we must be being treated less here because we're similar.
Why don't they do a march on Saudi Arabia?
Well, I think that's racist because
it's xenophobic. I think it's probably
xenophobic.
It's xenophobic somehow.
There is some kind of is or something, you know.
There's some kind of ism that it is that is.
Yeah, I mean, because women aren't even allowed to show their face. They're not allowed to own property. They're not allowed to do anything without their husband's consent. But like that's fine. But in America,
that's how it should be. Wait, I mean, no, that's wrong.
Oh, dude, it's just
it's ridiculous.
This march was insane, and.
They're gonna protest every day for the next 4 years.
Well, that's also true. They're gonna keep protesting.
Michael Moore told them
every day for the next 4 years. That's a lot of commitment. I don't think that we have the willpower to do anything every day for the next 4 years. I mean, people can barely stick to going to the gym and eating healthy for like.
Well, I mean, I think if New Year's resolutions are any indication,
I mean, so we're not too worried.
By freaking May, there'll be something new.
New Year's resolution: don't be oppressed.
Don't be oppressed. You can already mark that off.
No, their New Year's resolutions is it be a professional victim. Check. All right.
Yes.
Let's keep going.
Well, Madonna can totally just.
Well, Madonna's
absolutely.
I think she started that. So I mean, I think just to wrap it up, I mean, this is just this is a logical and a heartfelt critique of this. I mean, again, we don't hate women. That's not at all what we're saying. The fact that we feel like we critique this and say what we say, like
we brought a woman on here so that
that means that we
exactly.
can't hate women.
They're totally not paying me to be here.
No, exactly. If you don't come here, we're gonna deport you back to Canada. So
we totally did not pay her $500 for this one video.
500 Canadian, which is like $3.
Like,
So I'm good.
That's the currency they use, right? Too Canadian.
Yeah, it's like Monopoly money. At this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, if there is instances of inequality, that's wrong. That's not what America's founded on.
Yeah, definitely.
There aren't. Currently, there are not. We're going to see what happens with Trump. I mean, I don't think it's completely out of the question that there could maybe be instances where certain things like this could come to fruition under his presidency. But we're going to be there to scrutinize that when that happens.
If something happens that's unjust towards a specific person, or people are their rights are taken away, and then there's not an equal playing field, you bet as people who believe in the Constitution, we will support that. We will support.
Honestly,
you in that.
if that happened, I really do think you would have millions of Americans coming up for that, because I think the average person is for that.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
Like the median, the bell curve, the majority of people.
They're just not on board with putting a vagina face on their body
and then being
walking
oppressed
through the streets and
being topless, because that shows them.
Yeah,
because that does something apparently.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I think we should walk around topless, dude, for men's rights. You know?
Yeah. No, definitely though. Be sure, guys, comment and let us know what you guys think about this specific issue. A special thanks to Emily for coming on here and sharing her opinion about this. It really is important for everyone to kind of talk about these things, and if you disagree with something that people are doing, then debunk it with facts and logic, common sense, and reasoning. Right?
Very easily
that's the best way to do it. Yeah, and it can be done very easily. But yeah, guys, as always, this has been a Beyond Politics. So be sure and like our video if you liked it. Subscribe, click that subscribe button. Be sure and check out our other videos. Check us out all over social media, guys. Links are in the description. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We're on whatever your favorite podcasting service is. Check us out there, Beyond Borders. As always, guys, stay informed. We'll see you next week.